So we are, oh my god, that light's bright when you're not used to it. Okay, so we're back at Jesse's garage. We took the Yukon for a drive the other night, ran a quick data log with HP tuners. Long story short, we fixed it in the previous video. Beans went to drive it home. It developed like just as bad of a misfire as previously. And we decided that enough was enough. We hooked up the laptop to it to diagnose it. And we'll roll the intro and we'll tell you more about the issue after that. So a little update, we're driving the Yukon. We had it hooked up to the laptop. I'll show you guys the log. We're just taking this thing back to Jesse's place. Don't mind the door that chime, that's the airbag. We gotta wire up the side airbags on the seats to make that happy. But judging by the log, I think one of the issues we're dealing with is the O2 sensors are totally screwed on this thing. It's got no idea what's going on. But so right now, anywhere over 2,000 RPM, we get this really bad stumble issue. There it is right there. Just tries to kill itself. So that's at about half throttle. Truck just has no idea what it's doing fueling wise. So I'll knock it off here and I'll show you what the laptop saw, and we'll discuss it at Jesse's garage. So here we have HP Tuners VCM scanner. Great tool, allows you to read everything that the PCM is seeing sensor wise. So if we focus on purple and blue lines here, the purple and turquoise lines here, you'll see these are actually the O2 sensor readings from the engine that the engine uses, or the PCM uses, to make fuel trim adjustments. Below that, in the purple and blue, is the short-term fuel trim on the engine. And you also have in the red and white the long-term fuel trim for both banks. This is a proper running engine. Here is the 6-liter in Beans' Yukon. Something here is not like the other. The O2 sensor readings, the short-term fuel trim readings, and the long-term fuel trim readings. Now, why is this an issue? So here you can see that if you look closely, the O2 readings are literally flatlined at almost zero, like 4 millivolts, 9 millivolts. Like on the peaks over here, when the engine actually decided that, okay, I'll give you more than 2,000 RPM, we actually saw some readings, 384 millivolts. And on my properly running truck, my 2015 Sierra, we're seeing 800 plus millivolts at the peak of those O2 swings. So those O2 sensors are actually measuring the air-fuel mixture, are actually measuring the O2 in the exhaust, and telling the PCM whether you have too much fuel or not enough fuel. So if it goes, oh, lots of fuel, the PCM is going to pull back and go, okay, we got to lean it out. And then if the O2 comes back down, says, oh, not enough fuel, oh, we better give it more fuel. When you're wide open throttle, there's not as much variation. The O2 is just going to read a constant value, and because the engine PCM is going to try and hit that target air-fuel mixture. None of that is happening here. What we have here is literally O2 sensors that aren't sending any signals, the PCM being dumb and thinking that, oh, it's not getting enough fuel. So why don't we see anything here? It's because the range of this chart is from 0 to 15, so negative 15 to 15, and the short-term fuel trim is 53 and 52 for bank 1 and bank 2 respectively. The fuel trim is literally off the chart. Even the long-term fuel trim is just maxed out. The engine has no idea how much fuel it's actually getting, so it's just saying, here's all of it. So the motor's choking itself to death. We're gonna foul spark plugs. It's gonna burn an unreasonable amount of fuel, and eventually you'll clog the catalytic converters, and you get a mean misfire, like shooting flames out the tailpipe. Raw fuel coming out the exhaust. It's crazy. So yeah, we're gonna replace the O2 sensors and see what happens. Alright, so going off of what we found in the log, I went ahead and ordered 2 Bosch O2 sensors for this truck off of rockauto.com. Not sponsored yet. Probably never. They were reasonably priced, as anything is on Rock Auto. So we're going to, I should say Jesse's going to replace the O2 sensors. While he's doing that, I'm going to take care of that stupid chime that's going off for the airbag alarm. Luckily, in the back of this truck, we have the original seats out of this thing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the airbag plug, just snip the wires up back here, and I brought some resistors with me. We're going to wire in probably a 220 ohm resistor, plug it into the yellow plugs under the seat, and hopefully that will cancel that airbag alarm, and then we'll be good to go. So what we have here is the leftover harness from the seat off the O2. You can see I've taken a 2.2 ohm resistor, soldered it in line here. We're going to cover that up with a little bit of shrink tube. Throw that in the truck. We're going to make a second one for the other seat. Plug it in. And I don't claim to be an expert, so we are hoping it's going to cancel that airbag alarm that we have, or the airbag light, as well as the chime that's super annoying every time we start driving with the truck. So make one more of these and then plug them in, and we'll go for a drive because Jesse has the O2 sensors in the truck. So we're going to log and drive and see what happens.
It took me less time to change 2 upstream O2 sensors than it did for you to do that.
Hey, perfection takes time.
That's true.
So with a little massaging, this is what we're dealing with here. Kind of flattened everything against the firewall. It looks kind of rough, but when you look at it from here, managed to keep a okay body line. So we're going to try and get Beans cut these fender flares to fit the Denali cladding. But Jesse and I were talking. I think what we're going to try to do is maybe make it up to the Kenny U-Pole one of these days and try to get him some complete flares. We'll just hit him with the same white Rust-Oleum that he painted those with.
Yeah, because he didn't get a piece for the other side, did he?
No, he never got the cladding for because it's $150 for just that single piece of cladding, and it was the wrong color anyway.
Yeah, might as well just get some fender flares in.
Not only that, but the one of the reasons why these trucks look so stupid without steps on them is those cladding pieces. Because if you look back here, for example, this cladding actually butts up against the step. Unfortunately, the steps are kind of structural right now.
They're hiding holes.
So we'll get this wheel back on. We're going to cut the other side the same way. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. And then we're going to take it for a drive with the laptop and see what the hell this thing does. And hopefully...
I really hope it runs. I am tired of looking at this thing. My neighbors are starting to think I own it.
And hopefully the tire's clear too with the little bit of trimming that we did.
Makes us look like some great mechanics we are.
Yeah, well, I'd rather have to cut twice than cut too much off and go, oh shit. I wasn't going to make a video about this side, but I really impressed myself with this one. So we were able to Gonna clean that up. Looks half decent. So like I said, either Beans is gonna buy a new piece of cladding for this side that got ripped off by the tech at Canadian Tire, or we're gonna get just 2 new front fender flares and not cut it here. And because we'll have to cut it at the bottom, but it'll meet up here. All depends on if we keep the steps or not. So that's for a later decision. But for now, we're gonna put the wheel back on, go for a drive with the laptop hooked up, and see if those O2 sensors fixed her.
Yeah.
We have the Yukon idling outside of the garage. Everything seems to be okay. The idle's not down at 500 RPM, which is good. Hooked up the laptop to her. We got some good news, folks. We have an O2 reading. Do that again? Yeah, it's not spitting raw fuel out the tailpipe anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for a little ride and see how we're doing. It's driving. We've got properly functioning O2s. The truck is still screaming at us because now I've realized that I never wired out the sensors for the seatbelts. Well, namely the one in the driver's seat. So I'll have to figure out the pin out on that one. This thing is happy again though. So that's what it was. The water killed the O2 sensors.
Yeah.
O2 sensors and mud do not mix.
Wouldn't he guess that? Would have never guessed that.
Not in a million years. So we're happy. We're pleased right now. We'll let Beans know he's at work. But things are going good. We're gonna go get a burger, I think. Might as well take this thing out for a rip, and then I might scour the internet a little bit and see how easy it is to get that seatbelt trying to shut the hell up. And I might even just try to wire it up so that it doesn't scream anymore at all. So if you're off-road and you don't want to have your seatbelt on, it won't bitch at you.
Yeah. We don't recommend that. Everyone wear their seatbelt when off-roading.
This, for off-road purposes only. Well, it runs. We fixed it for real this time. Not every other time I made a video is we fixed it, and then Beans drives literally the day after I upload the video and he's like, hey, it's broken. This time we were smart though, hooked up some proper diagnostic tools to it, figured out what was going on. The only thing that we did tonight was well, here's the thing. We put about, for you Americans, we put about 2.5 gallons in the tank to drive it from Beans' house to here, because we knew that at Beans' place there was almost no fuel in it. We literally got, this truck ran 1 gallon per mile. Is the fuel mileage that it got with those bad O2s, because we burnt all of it. We drove.
This is too cold.
Oh, it is. We literally drove like, I don't know, maybe another 3-4 miles tonight, and yeah, on the way back it started running out of fuel. We honestly thought it wasn't going to make it here, so, but it did. It runs. So trust me, the journey with this thing is not over yet. The seems like the seatbelt sensor is now upset, so figure out the wiring for that, wire that up so it doesn't do it anymore. But other than that, this thing is a full tank of fuel away from finally running properly. Beans can have his bush truck back, and I don't have to feel quite as bad. I can sleep a lot easier knowing that it's my buddy's truck that I sunk is freaking running again. And we went through all of that with the fuel filter, the fuel pressure regulator, and how we just hooked it up with HP tuners, we would have seen that it was fine. Mind you, it's good that we replaced those things anyway, because they are maintenance items. But yeah, I'm starting to shiver. It's cold out here. The weather's been so crazy up here. It's been above freezing, below freezing, and it's just cooled off, and it's damp tonight, so if the camera's shaking, I apologize. And also, I need to go into work. It's almost 2 a.m., so this is a good place to end off the video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And believe me, if we do any work on this thing again, you will see it in a video. And hopefully this friggin' snow will melt. Let me crank up the light a little bit. Because once that snow melts, I'll be able to take my truck out of storage. Because that white Silverado sitting right there, that's just my daily, that's just my lease truck. I have a 2015 GMC Sierra, which you see in the end title screen. It's 5.3 Z71 4x4. And I lowered it 4.6, and I've got plans for that thing this summer. So another little journey that I'll take you guys along with me on. Any types of road trips or anything like that. Well, we'll see what we can do. YouTube's fun. So, again guys, thanks for watching. We will see you next time.